Welcome to Tech in the Right Direction, the podcast. Let's take tech in the right direction to drive social change and close the employment, pay, and culture gap for women in technology. This podcast is focused on helping turn ideas into action and create opportunities for women to advance in the dynamic technology industry. I hope this podcast will inspire and motivate you to encourage more women and girls to seek or grow a career as a woman in technology. Stories about the journey of amazing women in the tech field starts right now.
This week, I will be talking with Sarah Haggard. Sarah is a proven business leader who has led multiple startup initiatives within her decade-long career in product marketing at Microsoft, raising $40 million to scale her last business. Expert in P&L management, enterprise software, and go-to-market strategy, Sarah's tenacity and drive for results led her to being widely recognized as a turnaround expert and a new business incubator. Sarah's leadership style is engaging and authentic. Her superpower is her ability to spot patterns, creating high-performing teams, and activate the right people at the right time to deliver results. Sarah holds a master's degree in business administration from Seattle University and a Bachelor of Arts in anthropology and business administration from Augustana College in Rock Island, Illinois. Welcome to the show, Sarah. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So let's begin. Can you share with us a little bit about your path in technology, your career path?
Absolutely. So my path is a little bit nonlinear and a little bit non-traditional. I actually studied anthropology as we introduced, and really thought that I was going to go save the world one person at a time. I've always been really keen to helping people and kind of serving the underserved, and thought that I would do that with my social work. And as I got into doing that and really experiencing that work on the front lines, I realized just that there was so many patterns and economic, social, political factors that were really influencing my ability to be successful on the front line. And so I made a decision early on in my life that I really needed to go pursue business and go out into the world and get money, influence, and power, and to be able to take those levers back into some sort of social justice work. And that's ultimately what led me into the technology field, somewhat by accident, but had a wonderful career at Microsoft the last 10 years, working in product marketing. And I would have to say that, fast forward today, one of the greatest lessons I've learned in my path to, working in the technology field is that technology is absolutely a people business, and being able to leverage technology for good is something that I'm really excited about being able to do moving forward.
That's very impressive. Not knowing that technology is the path that you wanted to take, but then having a passion for it once you were introduced to it, and knowing that you are really good at it, really feeds your soul, it motivates you, and then taking it one step further, which is what you've done, is to use technology for good, which is so great. So tell me a little bit about some of the technology trends you're seeing today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think today, beyond technology really being that people business, I think I'm seeing all kinds of technology that not only helps us automate and simplify everyday things that we were doing manually. And in my lifetime, I think I first typed on a computer when I was in the 5th grade. So I have, sort of this dual experience of growing up in a world without much technology, or it being this sort of opaque, complex concept, to today being everywhere and just such an integrated part of our lives that you can't even imagine what life was like before it. I think some of the trends that I'm seeing beyond, the AI, the blockchain, the machine learning, underlying, I think, all of those trends is this desire to enhance our human experience in some shape or form, whether it's to make it smarter, faster, better. And I think there's two camps of people. I think there's people who say, I can route around the human experience by making it faster, effectively, enhancing, but not, I would say enhancing a task, but not enhancing humanness. And then there's the other camp of people who say, I see you, I see how you're doing this. I want to simplify your life. I want to make it better. And I want to actually make, more time for you to do the things that you love to do by, just simplifying this task and effectively enhancing our humanness by using technology for good. So I think there's two camps, but underlying all of that, I think there's just this desire to use technology to automate a lot of the things that we used to do manually.
Yes, very, very true. So, you touched on some great points there. I kind of chuckled when you said, you touched a computer in 5th grade, and that was your first exposure to it, and things have changed so much where now we have multiple devices and multiple ways to use technology. I chuckled because I started in technology with punch cards. So that was a long time ago. It really dates me, but, and now I see where we are today. It is just crazy. I love the connectivity with technology to enhancing the human experience. I think that is a trend that will continue to grow because we need to have that business value, those soft skills, the communication skills, in addition to technology, in order to feed the next 5 to 10 years. So really good insights on that. So can you share with me some technology solutions that you've seen, or maybe you've seen some at Microsoft that they've developed to solve business problems, or something that you see as a solution making a difference on that, enhancing the human experience?
Did you know that there is an increase in the number of women leaving the tech industry? As a woman-owned business, Directions Training has made it our mission and passion to change this statistic. That's why Jennifer created this podcast. We showcase insight from everyday women for everyday women in the tech industry. Do you know other people that would benefit from tuning in? Share the link and help us drive the advancement of women in the tech industry. Do you have a journey or know of someone that our listeners would benefit from hearing about? Reach out to us at directionstraining.com/podcast. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and wherever you find your podcasts. Now, back to the show.
Yes, so I will reference Tribute, the company that I formed about 18 months ago. And this is where, for me, my path of social science and technology and curiosity and human experience is all just coming together for me in such a beautiful way. So Tribute is a modern mentorship app that actually helps employees connect and find a mentor through their shared life experiences. And so for me, the inspiration, the spark there was, as a woman in tech, spending a decade there, I would often get assigned a mentor. And some would be female, some would be men. I didn't think much about it. But in all of my experiences, when I would be assigned a mentor from my company, it was, we would often start with, what are your goals? What are your career ambitions? And we would just sort of leap completely over, do we, as these two humans, have a connection together? Do I trust this person to tell them all of the things that scare me, that I don't know if I'm good enough at, or all the ambitions, dreams, and hopes that I have? And, after experiencing mentorship like this over and over and over again, I thought, this is strange to me. Why are we putting the cart before the horse? Why are we not helping people really drive that connection first? What is it that connects people? And when I dove into my own curiosity around that, I realized that in almost every introduction that I make, whether it's for mentorship or just for a coffee or something else, and as listeners to this podcast, watch and notice now every intro you make, what you do, because you will find what you do is you create those shared connections. Oh, so-and-so went to college that you went to, or you lived here and you lived here, or hey, you struggled with that and so did she or he. And so we do this as humans, where we're always making connections in our mind over these shared life experiences that we have. And you find that there's a closeness or a connection that you start from when that happens. And I thought, this is missing in mentorship. And so how can I create a way to build a technology solution that allows us to find that shared humanness, right? First.
I love that. That is so insightful, because you're right. I mean, I've had mentors all my life, and they are assigned based on, maybe they've mentored before, or maybe the goals that you have are what they have expertise in. But I love this first connection, and that needs to be there, because I've had good mentors and bad mentors, and the bad mentors are people who are still great people, but I just didn't connect with them. So that this is so true. So tell me a little more about this app.
Yeah, so we're actually launching our app this month.
Nice.
Which with our first enterprise customer. So we are a B2B enterprise SaaS platform, and we've made a bet on mobile first, which, we've been talking about mobile first, cloud first, technologies for some time, but it still surprises me how much of our technology is desktop based today. So we're mobile first, we're making a bet. So we provide employees a mobile app that they're able to effectively create a profile, swipe through other employee profiles, search for that mentor on their own via the life experience or the professional skill that they're looking for mentorship around, and then they're able to chat and set their own schedule. And what's also kind of unique to Tribute is we lead in those profiles as you're swiping through, we lead with storytelling. And that's also a really fascinating topic that I love to talk about, because storytelling is this ancient way of sharing wisdom that we've seen through many different cultures, throughout our lived experience as humans. And there's really no AI algorithm or model that can route around telling a good story and being inspired by an amazing story of grit and grace and overcoming adversity and what your hopes and your dreams are. And so for us, we ask people in their profile to share a short narrative of a life experience that they believe could really help somebody else, right? And so we lead with storytelling, we connect over shared life experiences, and also because technology can make mentorship more accessible, more efficient, and more effective, our mentorship engagements when we connect actually initially start for a 30-day period. And that's kind of unique, because people tend to think, oh, if I ask for a mentor, we have to be friends for a lifetime, or we have to be connected for a lifetime. And I think that's not true. I think you earn friendships and relationships over a lifetime as you connect, as you provide value to one another. And so for us, we start with a 30-day commitment where, this is hopefully getting more mentors to say yes to mentoring others, because they don't feel that they have to make a lifetime commitment. It can be just for that period of time. I also believe mentorship can be found in a moment. You hear somebody say something, or you're listening to a speaker, and you get inspired by somebody's story or experience. So that's the employee experience, is being able to have that mobile app where they're meeting and networking with their peers, in and outside of the immediate teams that they work with. From an employer standpoint, we provide them an analytics dashboard that tells them all kinds of rich insights into their mentoring programs. I think more and more we hear how important mentorship is today in the workplace. We hear about the millennial and Gen Z modern workforce, and how, just mentorship is such a key ask today. And so all of these employers are trying to figure out how to offer mentoring programs. And today it's still very analog and ad hoc. And so now with our analytics dashboard, you can see how many mentors are in the organization, how many mentorship engagements are going on. And then you get really rich insights like, what are the top life experiences that my company is seeking mentorship on? And that, to me, I'm just so curious to see how companies are going to take that intelligence and be able to build it into the fabric of their culture, right? And to be able to say, if navigating difficult conversations is the number one thing that people are seeking mentorship on in a company, I would reasonably expect our CEO to stand up at the next town hall and say, hey, everybody, I see that this is a request or a thing that we're all kind of seeking mentorship on. Let me tell you a story when, or a time when I learned how to have difficult conversations. And that to me just gives companies a way for leaders to live out loud the culture that they're trying to create, while maybe even offering programming or workshops or other things that can really, address that key need that maybe companies wouldn't have known was a key need before they, brought Tribute into their organization.
That's amazing, because data is so powerful. We can make decisions. We can grow to the next level by looking at that data. And today, I haven't seen anything like this out there. So I think this is a great way for employers to connect with their employees, not only to grow them, make them more productive, get increased satisfaction in their job at their company, but also, be more competitive, take the business to the next level, because all of that falls to the bottom line. So as much as we are talking about mentorship, it really grows people so that those mentors can take them to the next level. It's so fascinating. I just love it. So are the mentors within the organization or outside of the organization?
Today, the mentors are inside the organization. And what's really interesting about Tribute is we don't create camps. We don't create, here's your mentor pool, here's your mentee pool. We offer an app where everybody gets to show up with their story and their lived experience. And by nature of showing up with that, you are a mentor, right? Because your life experience is the place where you have the greatest expertise and knowledge and something to give. Today we're going to offer our app inside companies, and there's a vision that as we go company by company, at some point down the road, we would open a public network where employers could allow their employees to put their profiles on that public network and be met by other employees from in and outside of their organization.
Great. What a community you can create from, that public network, because now you're getting double, triple, 10 times the experiences and stories which you can really build upon. So I think that's awesome. So Sarah, can you share with me some of the challenges you've experienced while creating these solutions? This is such an impressive undertaking, but I'm sure there were many challenges along the way that you've experienced. Can you share some of those with us?
Absolutely. So I think one of the challenges that was unexpected in the journey was, we talked about being able to capture all of this data and the fact that data is powering all of this digital transformation and innovation. But on the flip side of that, we are in a world and culture where employee trust and privacy and data privacy is just so forefront. And we're no longer in the wild, wild west when it comes to our personal data and how it's being used. We've got regulations now like GDPR in Europe, but we've also got consumer expectations of, hey, where is my data going? How is it being used? And so for me, getting all of this, building this app and collecting really sensitive data points like life experiences that can include, I feel isolated at work, or potentially even, one day breaching into, difficult topics like mental health and how do we help each other with these things, right? Those are data points that I realized very quickly that in aggregate really can help an organization, but individualized can harm employees. And so I think, for me, luckily, I have great advisors and I have great integrity. And so, we're building our product with this integrity, and trust from the get-go. But that's definitely something that, never really had to think about before creating this company. And I'm glad that we have, and that we are treating, employee and employer data with the ultimate trust and respect.
Yeah, that's great. That is something that, today we have rules, regulations, laws, and privacy, security of your data is so important. I remember years ago, people could just sell your data without ever asking you anything. And, I'm glad for GDPR and all of the regulations that are being put in place, because security is so important as well. And building that into your solution is critical. So that's a really good point. So, I love when technology is solving business problems or world problems. And I think your Tribute app is just one example of how technology can get to that human side, which is really, really neat, because all of the machine learning, artificial intelligence is all, gathering data and then manipulating that data to be more intelligent. But the human side is sometimes ignored. So I love that your app is really taking that to the next level. So in the next 5 to 10 years, I know that's a long time in technology. When I think back 5 years, I'm like, I couldn't believe that we are where we are today. What kinds of problems do you think technology will be solving?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I thought about that because I think, whatever industry you're in, right, that answer just varies so widely. But I think, I really think technology is going to solve, hopefully, a lot more healthcare problems for us. Just understanding our own genetic makeup and how we can more or less manipulate that for good, if you will. I think that we're going to see a ton of innovation in that space. I think just science breakthroughs that we haven't even, things like quantum physics and understanding the laws and breaking all of that. I mean, I hope in my lifetime to see technology that can make some of these massive breakthroughs. But I also really have a hope that technology will become so integrated into our human experience that we don't even know it's there, right? Whereas in my lifetime, technology was this thing outside of you, or complex, or really difficult to understand. You had to be some mathematician, to run the algorithms of the programs or any of that. And I think technology is just going to continue to get simpler, more integrated, on the human side, and on the pure technology side. I think we're going to have some massive breakthroughs in the next 5 to 10 years on the healthcare and in the science industry particularly.
I'm excited to see those come through, because it's definitely needed, and I know there's lots of solutions being built even as we speak and going to be rolled out. So what is the biggest mistake or most common mistake you see organizations making when it comes to deploying a technology project? What should you be aware of, so that, if you are deploying something, that you should really, this is the best practice, or this is what you should avoid?
Yeah, this is actually a really relevant question for me right now as we are deploying our app real time. I think my best advice or best practice is to not overlook the quality testing and kind of the beta testing of rolling that out, and doing it in a phased approach. We have a community of about 5,000 people that we're looking to roll our app out to. And we decided that rather than just launching the app to that entire group, that we would pick some smaller subgroups and roll out over time. And that has been the best decision we could have ever made, because we caught things that, we didn't need to hear 5,000 times. We needed to hear it 5 times, right. To know that it was time to make that small adjustment here or there. But yeah, don't, I think many technologists will know already that, deployment in of itself is a project. It's not just a switch that you flip. It's something to be thoughtful. It's something to be planned, rolling it out over time. As excited as you are to get to, mass deployment, there's a reason why that you do this proof of concept before, the pilot, and then the pilot before the broad rollout. And just don't overlook that. Make sure you build time into your project plan and your client deliverables, so that you get that time to do that, and you don't run up into the end and then have to turn something on and kind of run into a wall.
Right. No, that's really good advice. Just phase it out. Take the time to tweak as you move on, because you're going to get data from your deployment phases that maybe you just never thought would happen, or you thought would happen but not in a smaller group? So, really taking it as a phased approach is great advice. My last question to you is, what's the best advice or lessons learned regarding customer satisfaction or project delivery can you share with our listeners that you still leverage? I mean, that you think is the golden rules?
Yes, the golden rule in my book is setting expectations and communicating. Projects don't go the way we think they're going to go. Timelines get pushed. We learn new things as we go. In my case, we thought we would be done developing our app in an 8-week sprint, and it ended up taking us 12 weeks, just because we were learning and growing and tweaking and doing all of these unexpected activities around the side. And I have a very happy client today because we communicated and set those expectations along the way. And I think, there's always going to be scope creep in your projects and clients who want more. And I really look at that as, that's great news. Yes, we'll do that, but we need to do this first. And just stay focused on the task at hand. And then, use that enthusiasm and excitement for scope creep to turn it into your next engagement and to continue moving forward, but always setting those expectations clearly, often, early, to me has just been a tremendous best practice that I've learned.
That's great. I think just in business and life, communications and setting expectations is so important. And things roll so much smoother when you do that. And I love that you said scope creep becomes your next opportunity, because we find that in our business all the time. And it's not, it's not because you don't need this. It's just part of the next phase, and let's talk about that, but let's get through this. So that's really, really great advice. Well, Sarah, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Tech in the Right Direction. Please take a minute to subscribe or follow so that you never miss an episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Thank you. See you next week.
From IT skill enhancements to end user adoption training, Directions Training is your resource to help optimize the effectiveness of your technology investments. Over 500,000 students have taken advantage of our wide selection of technology and business training solutions covering the most popular applications today, such as Microsoft 365, Azure, Windows 10, and more. As a podcast listener, we invite you to take advantage of an exclusive offer. Receive 30 days of free access to our Microsoft official curriculum on-demand courses for IT professionals or end users. Visit us at www.directionstraining.com/podcast to claim this offer today. Hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time. Success is a journey. Ask for directions.